Hey, Maverick followers and fellow Giant fans. Um, we are not going to get into what Philly did last night right away. Instead, I would like to discuss the future of the franchise. Okay, so we will do a team by team or position by position analysis in another video, but this one is about the future. So we're going to look at our draft pick and we're going to look at our schedule, which got posted today. At least the teams we're playing, not necessarily the schedule in which they're playing them, but at least we know who they're playing. So, without further ado, we are the 11th pick in the draft. So ideally, I think we could have got the 5th if we lost to Dallas. And we obviously would have got the 19th or 20th if we made the playoffs, depending on how that played out. Let's be honest with the playoffs. If we had gotten in, we would be playing Tampa Bay. And short of Evan Ingram dropping a ball in the hands, which he does basically every game, and still made it to the Pro Bowl somehow, another conversation for another day, we would have beaten Tampa Bay in the regular season. And let's be honest, Tom Brady is afraid of the Giants. He can't beat us in the playoffs. I'm convinced he paid off Peterson to put in a third-string quarterback so that they could throw the game so that he didn't have to face us. That's just speculation. I'm just throwing that out there. So, 11th pick, what are we going to do with it? Let's be honest, we got a couple holes. I think on the whole, the defense played a lot better, but we could still use some help. And on offense, I think we still need a playmaker on the wide receiver side. So I'm thinking wide receiver. In my other videos, I talked about 3 potentials in that realm. I like Devontae, I think his last name's Smith, from, I want to say, I'm messing this up now. Not Clemson. I think he's from Bama. Yeah, I think he's from Bama. I have to work on that. I'm sorry. But there are, I know, 3 top-end wide receivers that are going to be drafted in the top of the draft, and hopefully one of them will fall to us. If not, there's an edge out there from another team, which I'll also get. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on these names right now. And I've liked this kid for 2 years, Patrick Surtain, who's a cornerback, and he's a lockdown. And I think that if we had Bradbury and Surtain on the other side, I think that would be awesome for what the defense is trying to do, which is play a little bit more man. I know we're doing a lot of zone this year, but that's because they were afraid they couldn't defend people man to man. If we bring that in, maybe we can do that, and then all of a sudden we got blitz a little bit more. And let's be honest, when we blitz, our guys get in there. The linebackers have been fantastic. Again, we'll go over positions later, but I think on a whole you saw what Patrick Graham could really bring out of the team. All right, so who are we playing next year besides obviously the NFC East, or as they're going to call the NFC least? We play the AFC West and the NFC South. Okay, so tricky games out there. Obviously, you got KC. That's going to be a tough one to play. But I think we can compete with the Chargers. I think we can compete with Oakland. And I think we can compete with Denver. So we might go 3-1 in that division based on what they did this year and getting Saquon back. That's a hope again. NFC South, you got Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay. Again, I think we can beat Tampa Bay. We should have beat them this past year. I think we can beat Carolina with Teddy Bridgewater. New Orleans may not have Drew Brees, so there's a chance that we can take that. Michael Thomas wants out, which means they wouldn't have their number 1 target. And who am I missing? Atlanta, listen, they can score. Let's be honest, even with Matt Ryan 1 more year older, but I still think their defense is suspect. And if our offense can actually step up, we might be able to go 4-0 in that division. And I know I'm putting us at 7-1, right, with 2 divisions after going 6-10. But that's just the optimist in me. If Daniel Jones does not turn the ball over, we can win games. Okay. If Evan Ingram stops letting balls go through his hand and turn into picks, we can win games. You take those 2 people and just take away the turnovers, we won 4 more games this year. And instead of being 6-10, we would have been 10-6. And what Philly did, which is basically just throw a game in the beginning of the 4th quarter, in spite of all that was going on with Jalen Hurts and trying to give him an ability to be in a close game, in a divisional game, and see if he can actually pull it out. And instead of doing that, he decided to make sure that he got the 6th pick instead of the 9th pick, which means nothing, to be honest with you, to me anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. And as a Giant fan, we can't take what Philadelphia did, which is just lay down and get stepped on by not a great Washington team who let them get in the playoffs, and realize that we left games out there this season. Now, let's be honest. The Giants were the healthiest they've been all season, except for Saquon Barkley. Our team was healthier than the rest of the 4 NFC East teams, which gave us a chance to gel a little bit, which you saw in the middle of the season with the line. They struggled against tougher lines. I think we held our own against Washington, which has one of the best lines in both games, and that's why we won them both. So, in closing, I feel confident to say that the Giants will add a piece, hopefully for Daniel Jones. in the draft. And if not, hopefully give Patrick Graham a piece and not necessarily a lineman. I wouldn't mind another O lineman. You can't have enough if you can get a good spot. I think at the 11th pick, we can still get a quality player out of the draft. They typically say between 10 and 17 is the average number of what you call the superstar potential players out of every draft. I'm hoping that's what happens. Other than that, I look at the schedule and I see more than 6 wins. And frankly, for Joe Judge and for the Giants, if we can go 8-8 next year, I think that would be improvement. And I think that would also give us a chance to make into the wild card with an 8-8 record, or maybe take the East. As you can see, it's not that great. There's some turmoil going on across all these different teams. You don't know what they're going to do with Dak in Dallas. You don't know if Jalen Hurts is the answer in Philly. You don't think Wentz is going to stay there. It sounds like Zach Ertz is on his way out, which means they only have Dallas Goedert, which isn't bad for us. It means there's only one tight end we got to worry about, and no receivers. And then Washington, Alex Smith will probably still be there, but I imagine they're going to go out and get somebody else too to back him up, or maybe to become the successor. So, and I can't believe Heineke would be the guy, but you never know. This is longer than I usually make it. I'm sorry. The other one's going to be just as long because I'm going to go position by position. But hold your heads high. Realize that the Giants played a really good game against not a really good Dallas team, but a team that was trying to win. Okay? And as you saw from these two teams, both of our teams did try. And I know that Philly had no chance of making the playoffs, but if you're going to let a team from your division come in and basically walk all over you in your home stadium on national TV, you don't deserve any national games, okay? Doug Peterson, as far as I'm concerned, is a joke. And I don't care that he didn't go for the field goal to tie that game, but you don't put in a third-string quarterback who had 2 turnovers in 5 snaps and say, oh, we're just making sure we're seeing how he's doing. That's what preseason's for, and you're going to have that in 2021 with all intentions purposes. So don't make that an excuse. But again, Giant fans, we can't have Philly be our excuse for not making the playoffs because we should have won more games. But that does mean that when we play Philly in the future, we may remember these moments. We remember what they did. We remember that they laid down, and we take it to their asses, and we don't let the fly eagle fly. We're going to take them fuckers down. All right, let's be honest. That was the biggest joke, the biggest disrespect you can have for a team is for an offensive line like the Eagles you saw last night if you watched the game, just sitting there saying, why are we even out here if you're not even going to try to play and try to win? They gave up on Peterson because of what he did. So the Giants will run over those 2 teams. We're going to run over the Eagles next year, both games, okay? Good season next season. I think it was a good season overall for this season, going 6-10. We'll take it. It's not great, but we had a lot of games we were close in. If we didn't turn the ball over, we could have been easily 10-6, 9-7. So that's what I got. We'll give you the positional review probably next week during the playoffs. I want to try to get all my Giants stuff in while the playoffs are going on. And again, let's root for Washington. I don't think they got a shot. Oh, there's my dog. But go Big Blue.